Hey, everybody. How are y'all today? Okay, let's try it again. Hey, everybody. All right, that's a lot better. That's a lot better. So we're so glad all of you are here. I'm Amy McDonald, and I'm the Director of Education here at the Alabama Holocaust Education Center, and we're really, really, really excited that all of you are here today. Just so we get a good idea, we have 6th, 7th, and 8th, right? Are there any high school people here? What grades are all of y'all? Is everybody here together? Okay, so we're 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Okay, we were just curious. And then what about, yes, okay. So we've got, I'm gonna tell you, I feel a lot more relaxed right now than in the 9 o'clock thing where we had like 300 people in here. That was a lot of kids, and it was amazing. So you're gonna be really excited to hear Mr. Schonwetter's story. But before I introduce our speakers, I wanted to be sure you understand something really, really important. I want you to just kind of take a second and realize where you are and what you're about to hear and how important this is going to be. Because there are tons of people your age all over the world, but you're going to be a handful that actually get the opportunity to hear Holocaust survivors speak in person. And that's a real privilege and a real honor, and I want you to remember that, because it's once in a lifetime, okay? Isabella's going to also talk about that, too. But let me introduce our speakers, because I don't want to take up any of their time. Let me start with Isabella. Wave, Isabella. She's a woman that wears many different hats, depending on the time of day. She's a mother of 2 boys, and she finds a balance between her family, career, and volunteer work. In August of 2019, Isabella, along with her sister, Ann Arnold, started the Mark Schonwetter Holocaust Education Foundation in honor of their father, Mark Schonwetter. Being the daughters of Holocaust survivor, they made it their mission to promote kindness, awareness, and respect through Holocaust education. Since 2015, she's been traveling to schools nationwide. This is their first time in Alabama, to speak with students about her father's survival and teach them the importance of learning the lessons from the past and how it relates to today. In September of 2011, Isabella was awarded the Simon Wiesenthal Center's Heroes for Tolerance Award. Involved in her community and sitting on various boards, Isabella's activism and voice stands strong for making a difference for a better and educated future for all. So let's welcome Isabella. And now, Mr. Mark Schonwetter. He was a young child in Brazil. I mess it up every time, Mr. Schonwetter. Brusztek, Poland. Brusztek, Poland. I keep having to remind myself of that. When Germany invaded his country, and his family was forced out of their home. After his father was taken by the Gestapo, Mark fled along with his mother and younger sister. They spent a few months in a nearby ghetto, and after escaping, they went into hiding in the Polish countryside, where they remained for 3 years. By the end of the war, Mark was one of only a handful of surviving Jews from Brusztek. Mark immigrated to Israel with his mother and sister in 1957, and then alone came to the United States in 1961, where he found work in a jewelry factory, and then later went on to found his own jewelry business and remained in the industry until he retired in 2018. I don't really think he's retired very much. He has always lived by the saying, live every day with love, not hatred, and you will accomplish so much more in life. Married to his beautiful wife, Luba, for over 55 years and having 2 daughters, Ann and Isabella, he can say he has lived the American dream. Mark is very committed to Holocaust education, and along with his daughters, founded the Mark Schonwetter Holocaust Education Foundation. Speaking and inspiring people all over the country, Mark's resilience and love of life is a true beacon of hope. So let's welcome Mr. Mark Schonwetter. And Isabella is going to start things off.
Thank you, Amy. Thanks, everyone. I think it's afternoon already, right? Good afternoon. I think Amy got a good one. I want a good one. Hello? Hi? Hi? Okay, good. Did you guys eat? Because I hope you're not hungry, because if you're hungry, then you're going to start falling asleep, and then you're going to be cranky. So you guys are good? Okay, awesome. So thank you so much for coming today. I know you guys traveled a little bit, but I traveled really far. My dad and I came from New Jersey, and we're going back tonight, so we've got far ways to go. So I think we kind of beat you all in your miles. But we're here today, so we're really excited to be here. Thank you so much. So as Amy touched on, she was saying how fortunate you are to be able to hear firsthand from a Holocaust survivor. Someone that lived through the atrocities of World War II from 1939 to 1945. And why is that so special? Well, it's for a few reasons. Unfortunately, a lot of the survivors are aging out. The survivors that are still with us today were children during that time period. So it's very rare for the opportunity to be able to hear firsthand from someone that lived through the atrocities. But it's also another reason why it's so important. It's so important because there's many deniers out there. There's many people that say that 6 million Jews were not murdered just because they were Jewish. But also 5 million additional people were murdered. Why? Because they were maybe part of the LGBTQ community, part of the Roma Sintis, maybe they had a disability, believed in a different political or ideology that Adolf Hitler and the Nazi movement believed in. Many priests were murdered. For what reason? Just because they believed or looked different than what Adolf Hitler had in his mind. So over 11 million people were murdered. So it's important for you to hear what happened. So I want you guys to take a moment, and I want you guys to do something for me. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to think of somebody that you're going to see later on today. Somebody that you can confide in, somebody that you can talk to, whether it's a parent, a sibling, a friend, a cousin. Keep that person in mind. Now open your eyes. Now, I want to ask you a favor. I want you to go home tonight and tell that person what you're about to hear today. I want you to become the voice for my dad, as I've made it my life's mission to continue to tell his story and others. I want you, if you could do this for me, make it your mission to continue to tell. So down the road, when somebody you hear saying, this never happened, it's not real, Auschwitz never was a real place, it's all make-believe, or concentration camps, or the hiding and the survival that you're about to hear, you could say, no, you're wrong. Because I know, because I heard with my own ears from an eyewitness that lived through the atrocities that it's real and it really did happen. So will you do that for me? Okay. So without further ado, it is my honor and my privilege, and I am a very proud daughter of a Holocaust survivor, to introduce my father, Mark Schonwetter.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here and giving me the opportunity to share with you my journey to survival during the Holocaust. Well, I would just repeat, I am from Poland. My parents lived there for ages, grandparents, and so far. My father was a farmer. He owned house, land, and whatever else comes with a farm. Besides being a farmer, my father was also the head of the Jewish family of the town. Well, the war broke out in 1939. The Germans conquered Poland. It took them about 3 weeks, and Poland was gone. They occupied Poland. It was the first time me, as a small little child, saw trucks full of soldiers, tanks, airplanes just flying over our village. And then they just passed by, the tanks, the trucks, and life was continue going like normal, call it. Because nobody imagined even what are the consequences going to be of Germany occupying Poland. And in the beginning was quiet, like nothing. But it didn't last too long. The Gestapo came to town. They went to the police station and started asking people, the chief of police, how many Jews live, what do they do, and so far. Whatever amount they came, one point the chief of police tells them, you know, there is a person in town, his name is Mr. Schonwetter. He's the head of the Jewish community here. Why don't you go to him and ask him questions about the Jewish people? He probably knows more than I do. So from this moment on, they start coming to the house and talk to my father. Soon, they told them, we have to impose certain rules for the Jewish people in town. What we want you to do now is make sure that all the Jewish people going to wear a band on their arm with the Star of David. And they made a comment like, well, we need to know to be able to distinguish the Jews from the Polish people. Okay, good excuse. Then they came to him and they told him, what we want you to do is to announce to the Jewish people that kids going to public school are not allowed anymore to go to school. Okay? Then they came and they told them, we are giving you 24 hours. Find yourself a room someplace in town because we're taking the farm, the house, everything from you. We need this. You are allowed to take only personal belongings. My father went, of course. He found the room. We moved in. And from this moment on, if they needed him for whatever reason, they called him, and he went to the police station. They had a talk with him, and after that, go home. One day, when they called him, he's not back. Mom is sitting and waiting and waiting. It's in the evening already. He's not back. All of a sudden, she hears somebody knocking on the door. When she opened the door, she sees the wife of the chief of police. And she tells my mom, I have to tell you something quick. I happened to overhear a conversation between my husband and the Gestapo. And they told him that soon they would take all the Jews out from this town. I don't know where and what. I just came to tell you this, and I will strongly suggest that you take your kids and run away from here. And she left. Mom didn't know what to do, where to go. But she decided to go back to our old house. And she's going to a Polish family which lived together with us. The name of the family was Piłat. And she tells them the story, what she heard. And she's asking, can you help me? Can you give me guidance? What should I do? Where should I go? So Mr. Piłat says, listen, it's late in the evening. Why don't we go to sleep? Tomorrow morning, we get up and we talk about it. We figure out something, don't worry. He says, okay, you take your daughter and go to sleep in my family there, because he didn't have enough room. But him, pointing at me, let him stay with me and let him sleep with my kids here. Tomorrow we get together. So we went to sleep. Early next morning, the door opens. The Gestapo walks into the room. They go to him and they tell him, where are the Schonwetters? We were told that they're in your house. He says, no, there is no Schonwetters here. They say, our information is correct. They here. And you see, I have people with me. I will tell them to go and search the property. You're not cooperating. You're wasting my time. We're going to find them. And what we're going to do, kill them and you. So where are they? He says, go and search. They're not here. So he says to his people, okay, start searching the property. So they walked out. Then he starts moving out from the room. But then by the door he stops, turns around, he sees quite a few kids sleeping. So he pinpoints at one of the kids, was the oldest daughter, and he tells her, all right, tell me quick, how many brothers and sisters do you have? And she's answering instantly, 8. So he's counting. It's 8 kids. So he walks out. Well, let me tell you, I was the luckiest kid that she was smart enough to include me in the count of her brothers and sisters. Because if not, I don't think I'd be standing here today. Mr. Piłat comes and he says, kids, get up, get dressed, go outside, keep yourself occupied there. And he tells me, you go together with my kids, but when you be outside, run behind the house, you know where the bushes are there. Hide yourself in them. And don't come back to the room. Just sit there and wait for me. And that's what I did. He came, he took me, we went to my mom, and he tells her, well, I see it's serious, very serious, this thing. So I was thinking, and I think that the best thing for you would be to go to a ghetto. Actually, we didn't even know then what a ghetto is. But he says, you know, in this town, they took a part of this town. There were Jews living and Polish people living. They took the Polish people out, and they filled the whole area with Jewish people. So you'll be living between Jewish people there. Nobody from our town here, the police, the Gestapo, they wouldn't even think that you went there. So you'll be safe. Go there. Let's go. Mom says, if that's what you suggest, I go there. So he says, let's walk to the place. So we walked from our village to this town. It was about 15 miles. We got there, and he says, you see, the guards are standing here. They will let you in, and just go in, find yourself a place, and live there. Okay, he left. Mom took us, me and my sister, and we walking the streets and looking for a place to live. While we walk, we see the ghetto, the streets full of people, the people living on the street. Every house we walked in was packed. There was no space. After walking most of the day like that, Mom found a little tiny space on the attic of one of the houses. She grabbed the spot and she says, okay, that's where we're going to stay. That's what we're going to live. So you can imagine 2 little kids walking all day, being hungry. We start crying. And we start saying to Mom, Mommy, Mommy, we hungry. Give us something to eat. But Mom doesn't have any food. She's not giving us anything. So she turns around to a person next to her there, and she says, can you tell me where we can get some food? My kids are hungry. Where can I go and get? The answer was, you get food when they give you food. That was it. So we sit and sit. Finally, they announcing, food is being served. So we go down, we stay in line. When we got to the table where they have the food, they give you a cup, they call it soup. Actually, it's warm water, has some color, nothing else inside, just water. Then you make another step, and they give you a rotten piece of bread. Here it is, next. So, of course, we finished this in a second, as good or bad it was. We had something. And we learn every day, twice a day, That was the food that we ate in the ghetto. So you can imagine, from this amount of food that we used to get, we were constantly hungry. Constantly hungry. But there was no choice. You lived with hunger. Each house didn't have water, so we never washed. Didn't have toilets, so you went someplace outside to look for it. Clothes, we didn't change because we didn't have any other clothes. We had what we walked into the ghetto. So actually we lived day and night in the same clothes. We got sick, but you couldn't go to a doctor because there was no doctors. You couldn't get medicine because there was no medicine. So you were on a mercy, or you lived or you died. We had lies. Mom cut our hair. We were getting sick, but somehow we survived our sickness and came back, call it, to normal. One day, a little boy comes to my mom and he tells her, I saw a man standing besides the wires there. And he's asking, do you know a Schonwetter? Anybody knows a Schonwetter? Anybody knows a Schonwetter? I know you, I heard him say. So come on, I show you where he is. So they run, they come to the place, and who is there? Mr. Piwa. And he tells my mom, I want you to go get your kids, and I am here to show you how to get out from here. Make it fast. So my mom runs, brings me, my sister. So he says, okay. He takes a blanket, he throws over the barbed wire, and he tells my mom, take one kid at a time and throw him over. She looks at him and she says, I cannot do it. I am weak. I don't have strength. I cannot pick up a child and throw him. I am weak. I cannot do it. So he says, take a look at the kids. Take a look. They skin and bone. There is no weight there. They're not heavy. Just try it. Try it and try quick. We don't have time to stay here. Make it fast, please, do it. And she tries it and she did it. She threw us over. Then he tells her, you climb, flip over on top, and I catch you. She did it. And that's how we escaped from the ghetto. When we were already outside, he tells my mom, I'm going to take you to a village. I made arrangements with a farmer. They will take you and they will hide you there. So again, we walked to this village. We came there and they look at us and the woman says to Mom, well, I see you have 2 kids. I just want to make sure that you understand that those kids, if I'm going to keep you, they're not allowed to cry, to laugh, to talk. They have to be quiet day and night. Not a word. You think you can handle them? Can they do that? Mom said, of course, I make sure they be fine. Don't worry about it. They're good kids, they will listen to me. So he said, go upstairs to the attic, cover yourself with the hay, and you're going to stay there day and night. You're not going outside or any place. You just sit there. I bring you some food, and that's it. And that's how we lived. This was sometimes in the fall we came there. So we lived through the whole winter on this attic. And then in the spring, she tells my mom, that's it. I am not going to keep you any longer. Spring is coming. The farmers are going to start working in the fields. Somebody may walk into the house or something. They may notice there may be something. I am afraid you have to go. But Mom says, but I don't know where to go. Where can I go? You know somebody, can you recommend me to somebody? You have some ideas what to do? So she looks at Mom and she says, well, the only idea I have is that you take your kids. You see behind my house here, it's a very, very big forest. Take the kids, find yourself a spot in the forest, and live there. Nobody will think that a woman with kids is sitting there. So you'll be safe, you just live there, nobody goes there. You'll be fine. That's all what I can suggest. So just go. Mom didn't have a choice. We went into the forest. She found a spot. And then she tells us, well, I know in the forest growing mushrooms, berries. We need to eat, so we have to find where they grow. And remember, there are good ones and there are poison ones. So I'm going to teach you, show you, explain to you which one we can eat and which one not. So pay attention when I'm going to describe to you which one to eat and so far. And we walked around, we were finding them, and that's basically what we were eating. That was our food. We lived like that for 3 years in the forest during the summer. But the problem came when the winter started coming. Fall, winter. It's very cold. Snow starts. Mom says, we need to find a place, someplace, that somebody will take us. So she says, what we're going to do, we're going to walk only in the evenings, no daytime. We go to a village somewhere. I will walk into the house, but you two going to sit outside. Wherever I put you to sit, you sit and wait for me. And she used to walk in and start begging a farmer to take us. So sometimes they agreed, sometimes they didn't agree. If they agreed, they told us to stay for a week. The week sometimes became 2 weeks or even 3 weeks. But then we had to leave. And the issues were, when we left, we have to start walking again and look for a place. So when we came in the evening and we couldn't stay there, so Mom went, she took us, we went outside the village. She found a spot, bushes, trees. Says, okay, we're going to stay here. So we slept on the outside, in snow, freezing. Then all next day, we were sitting there, freezing again all day long, plus being hungry all day, because we didn't have any food. And then in the evening, we start again begging if somebody could take us. One time, we walked and we came to a farmer, and the farmer says to Mom he feels sorry for her. He was going to take her, but he says, I have to make sure if I am going to keep you in my house, there has to be a place that's safe enough, nobody will think that you're hiding here. Come tomorrow. So we were waiting, we came next day. He says, okay, come on, let me show you. He takes us to a pigsty. And he says, take a look. I digged here a little space hole in this here. But as you can see, it's very shallow. The only way you can be in this spot is to lay down. You cannot even sit here. It's not deep enough. Are you be comfortable this way? Mom says, no worry about it. I appreciate, thank you. I can stay here, they can stay, lay down and be fine. I don't have to sit or stand. It's good. I'm not cold. I am inside. It's good. So he says, okay, step in, lay down. We walked in, we lay down. He takes pieces of wood, he covers the top up. Then we hear him throwing hay on top of the wood. And then all of a sudden we hear pigs start jumping on top of us. We got scared because we didn't know if they're going to jump, if the wood is heavy enough, or they will break this and they kill us. But it quieted down, and we lived like that. But there were some issues, of course. When the nature calls and we need to use, there's no toilet, nothing to where to go. You're not going to go out. There's no way you can get out from here. So my mom looks and she says, you know, this little spot here, we're going to use for our purposes. So to get to this spot from the person all the way on the other side was difficult. You couldn't get up, walk in there, be there. So what we were doing, we were rolling one on top of the other till you got to the place. After you've been done, we rolled back to our place, to whoever was there. But the other issue we had, the pigs on top of us, if they start releasing too much liquid from themselves, saying nice, and this thing start dripping through the hay and in the spots between the wood, it was dripping on us. First, when this started, oh my God. Oh, look at that. Oh, it smells so bad. It's so bad. We start crying. But my mom, she always knew how to calm us down, how to make a joke out of it, call it. But the reality was that that's what it was, and we lived with it. We didn't have no choice. And we lived like that for over 3 months in this spot. And then when the spring came in, he tells Mom, well, summer is coming, go back to your forest. That's it. And that's what we did, went back to our forest. This was already 1944. We were hiding in the forest again, and then in the beginning of fall, we start hearing the explosions from far away. Mom says, it looks like this is the German army there. They're shooting someplace. I am afraid they're going to start walking around in the forest. They may catch us here. I don't know what we have to do, but let me sit and think about it. But it didn't take too much time, maybe a few hours. All of a sudden, she sees Polish farmers, a group of 10, 15 people, just walking. And then she sees another group. So she comes with an idea and she says, you know, kids, next time we see a group of people walking like that, we're going to follow them. Wherever they go, we stay behind them and just follow them. They must know where to go. So what happens to them happens to us. So a group walks, we start walking, and she tells us, let me tell you something, kids. When you walk and anybody starts talking to you, don't say one word. I am here to talk. Don't tell them what you are, who you are, where you've been, or if you want to say something, say you're escaping from the front line. That's it. But then I want you to learn one thing. We have to learn this. You have to learn this. And what it is, if we be lucky that the farmer is going to take us and we stay with them, remember, those are Christian people. So, when you sit down with them for food, they being served, they're going to cross themselves. So remember, and she showed her how. Make sure you do this. Then, when they start praying before they eat, make a prayer. You have to learn the prayer. So make sure that you listen and try to remember every time when you hear, try to remember as much as you can. And then, when Sunday comes, they go to church, we going to church, and you have to watch what everybody else is doing. You follow everybody. Remember that. And of course, we remembered, we watched, we learned, and we knew what to do. And the farmer didn't think about anything about us, and we were doing that, and that's how we lived with this one of the farmers. It was maybe close to 3 months. And then it was spring 1945. All of a sudden, everything quieted down. And then we see some soldiers walking. When they got to the house, we couldn't recognize who they are. They start talking. We couldn't understand one word. But one of them says, I know Polish. So let me tell you, we are the soldiers of the Soviet Union. We liberated you. For you, the war is over. You're free, you can go home. There is no Germans around here. We cleaned up the whole area. So go home. They left. After a couple days, we decided to go back to our house. We got to our house, but our house was damaged and other houses were damaged. So my mom says, well, let's go and live in a basement. Let's live there, and for the time being at least, and we wait and see who is from the family coming back here. Let's wait for them. So a week, 2, 3, nobody, but nobody came back. Mom says, I don't like that. We cannot stay here anymore. I'm not comfortable here. Let's go and move to a bigger town. There must be all kind of people that live. It will be easier. So let's go. And that's what we did. We left here, we went to the city, and that's where our new life after the war started. Well, I gave you highlights how we survived the war, the Holocaust. And I am going and sharing this with young people, middle-aged, older people, with anybody we can. Because I feel that it's very important for people to know what happened during this period of time. We cannot erase this from our mind. Six million people were killed because they were Jews. Another 5 million people were killed not being Jewish. Different, all kinds. So we have to make sure that anything like it will never repeat itself in the future. And it is up to you as a new generation to keep this in mind, so never think like that happens. Never happens again. We cannot allow somebody with the thought what Hitler had to come to power, because you never know who may be the next type of a people that a person like that may concentrate to get rid of it. That's why I say that we are all human beings. It makes no difference if we Christians, if we're Jewish, if we're Muslims, if we're Hindu, or whatever religion we believe in. We are human beings. Makes no difference if we white, black, brown, or whatever. We still human beings. So as human beings, we should live together in peace, in friendship, in respect to each other. Because by doing that, we may stop the hatreds which we're having between people. Because hatreds is only creating more hatreds and more hatreds. And finally, what's happening? We go and we start killing each other. Why? Why? Aren't we living on a planet which is, who knows, thousands or million years? And how long we live on the planet? If we're lucky, if we live 80, 90, or 100 years, it's in comparison nothing almost. Such a short period of time. So why don't we take advantage of those few years that we live on this planet and enjoy ourselves? Again, as I said, in friendship, respect, not in hatreds. So that's why I feel that by me talking to you or any other people, we will accomplish this, that we may sooner than later create a friendship between all of us, because that's what we need. We all need to get together and be together to accomplish this. So, thank you for listening. Good luck, whatever is your future you in plan. And thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much. Quite powerful. So, before we go to Q&A, I just wanted to let you know a little bit about who we are. As Amy mentioned, my sister and I started the Mark Schonwetter Holocaust Education Foundation. And the purpose of the foundation is to raise money to be able to offer grants to schools to bring in programming, materials, and curriculum into the classroom. Or to something like what you guys are doing right now, even coming here and subsidizing busing and stuff to come to hear about a Holocaust speaker or to bring in a classroom text of books. So that's what we do. That's what our foundation's mission is, to spread kindness and respect through Holocaust education and the lessons you can learn from it. What we also have is something which is taking place right now during the month of May, is our annual fundraiser, which is Journey for the Living. And it's a 15-mile challenge that you could do with your school or with your community. And it's a great way to bring community together, kids together, classes together. For schools, it's cross-departmental, so it's between, you could do it between your history, your English, and even your fitness, phys ed classes. Go outside. All you have to do is you walk a mile, and it has to be 15 miles throughout the whole month of May. And the 15 miles is representative of what my dad did with his sister and his mom in one night, to go from their hometown to a ghetto where they thought they would be safer. for schools. Registration is free, and it's a great interdepartmental thing. We also have curriculum that can go with it and be reflective of each mile that you walk. So if you want more information, Lisa can get that to you. So on that note, I want to just turn it over to you guys now. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask us. Anyone? Yes. Do you know what happened to your father?
Yeah, we did find out what happened to my father. I'll give you a little quick background how we did this. While we were hiding in the forest, the son-in-law of Mr. Piwat used to occasionally come to bring us a couple slices of bread. One day he came in, and my mom looked at his shoes, and she says, "Where did you get those shoes?" He didn't want to tell her. They got in a conversation, and she was insisting. Finally, he says, "As long as you insisting on it, don't get, upset what I'm going to tell you, but just listen. When you left the village, the Germans came into the village and they requested Polish young men they need for work. They loaded up 2 trucks of people. They took us, and I was one of them. They took us to a forest. When we got there, they had a spot of land marked out, and they told us, dig here a big hole, deep, big hole. So we worked for a day, 2 or 3. We did this whole thing. They took us back to town. Then they came a couple days later. They came in and they said, "We need you, Mark, back to work." So they load us up. We drive, and we see we coming back to the same location than before. And then we see right where we were digging the hole. When we got there, this big hole was full with dead bodies. They told us to cover the whole thing up, so there will be no sign of anything. After we finished this work, they told us, "You see, there are items here on the side. Go and pick one item. This will be for your work." So he said, when I was walking, I saw the shoes, and I happened to look, and I recognized this pair of shoes, and I knew those are shoes of your husband, because I worked with him day and night. So I took him for good memory. So now you know that he was killed and is in this mass grave in this forest. So that's how we found out what happened to my father.
Thank you for asking. Anyone else? Yes, sure. How long did you stay in the hole in the pigsty? How long were you in the pigsty?
In the pigsty, we were about 3+ months.
Yep, right next to, yep. He knows you were quite young, so he doesn't know if you would know, but what gave your mom the strength to keep moving on and to keep going forward? What gave your mom the strength?
I cannot describe what it was. Maybe she had something in herself, the drive for survival. to do everything, whatever she can, and is capable to do it. So maybe by doing it, she will survive. That's why she was kind to us. She never yelled at us. Always, on everything, she looked the positive way. Always keep us in hope that tomorrow is going to be better. Because by doing that, I think she felt that if we behave and listen and hope that will be good, it will help her to be looking positive, not aggravate her, from two little kids. And she may accomplish that. That's what I think was it.
Yes, here. How old were you when the war started?
I was 5 years old.
And right behind? Yep. That was your question too? Okay. You asked one, so let me just go to somebody who hasn't asked yet. Go ahead. When did you actually figure out when did you figure out when they were actually starting to kill Jews? Like, when did you figure out that Jews were being killed and you had to, run away? Well, you knew when you had to run away when she told you, but...
Well, we actually didn't know that they start killing Jews. Because when we escaped, we were told that escape because they will take the Jews. Okay, they will take them somewhere. But where? We never imagined that they take, hundreds of Jews and just kill them. Nobody thought about it. You didn't even imagine for anything like it. So we didn't know. We just thought maybe they put them someplace in different town, they move them someplace else, you lose your belongings, your property or something like. We moved, but okay. But they didn't kill us at that time yet. We didn't know that that's on the way for us.
Anyone else? Yes, I'll get to your question. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. The blonde, the little boy that asked the first question. Yeah. How old was your sister when the war started?
About 2.5 years old.
And your mom was probably late 20s, early 30s, right?
Yeah,
Early 30s.
Early 30s.
Right in the front, in front of, yep. How old were you when you came to the United States? How old were you when you came to the United States?
I think in the early 20s.
Yep, go ahead. Yep. Do you think that the Holocaust is still a very big part of you today?
It is a part of me today because I feel, as I mentioned before, that it's important to know, people have to know what happened in this period of time. And if they hear this from someone that survived this and talks about it, it's maybe a little bit better than to read this in a book, listen to some reports or something. Because many, many things happen in the past. You read about them in the books. excuse me. But though you read about them and you know how bad it was in certain periods of time, was this 100 years, 200, or 1,000 years back? But still, certain things repeat themselves. People still being killed. So I hope that if I talk to you, you will understand this better, because you heard this from a person who survived. So when you grow up, you have your kids, you would explain to them, I heard, I know that. And if you're lucky nothing happens, beautiful. But at least your kids know. But then they can say to their kids, your grandkids, that they heard something, because my grandmother or my mother heard from a person who went through it. Not that I read in a history. Maybe this will prevent from the hatreds in the future.
Yes. How did you, I'm sorry, repeat it? How did you not let this experience of your life make you angry or bitter? You're a very positive person. You know, other people, why are you not angry and bitter?
Well, again, I have to give all the credit to my mother. Because my mother always looked on everything the positive way. Even if she came across some people that they weren't so nice, she rather don't say a word about them bad and let it go and hope that they would change. And she was teaching us always to be positive. That's why I am looking the positive way on everything else, because I feel always, even with the worst person, if you can somehow get in touch with them, and he's willing to sit down with you and have an open-minded discussion, conversation, at least you have a chance to talk and hope that maybe there is something there that you can convince him to be good, not bad.
Thank you. Yeah.
I don't have a question. I just wanted to first say thank you for your story, for your courage, even being able to relive this and tell this to us. I can visualize as you spoke and told everything that happened, and that was so important, especially for our young people, to hear your story and be able to imagine and visualize what you went through. And so I just want to tell you both thank you for bringing this so that, again, history won't repeat itself, hopefully, and that people understand everything that families went through, people went through, in order to survive. And so thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I just want to know, from being a little boy to over years, what did you do to cope with all the things that happened?
So as you grew up, from your childhood to adult life, what did you do? Was there anything that you were able to do to allow you to cope and handle the horrors that you felt and you experienced. What allowed you to get through that traumatic time in your life? How did you get through that?
Well, I have to say that I will repeat myself. What it helped me is the behavior, the way my mom was treating us, teaching me from childhood. Never be angry on anybody. Always looking for the positive, even if the person was negative. Guide them and say, he's saying bad about this. I think tomorrow he will change his mind. Though she didn't know if he will or not. But give you the guidance that don't think because he will be better. So you had hope that people will change, that you will change, and everything will change with it.
Anyone else? Yes.
Was your mother ever able to meet her grandchildren?
Yes, I knew my grandmother very well. Yes, thank you. My grandmother lived to the beautiful age of 94. I was actually pregnant with my first son. My sister already had 2 children, so she was the most amazing, and she lived to the day she died, she was still with it 100%, living on her own, the most spectacular woman ever. Yeah, so thank you. Yes? While you were in the pigsty, how did you get food and water?
The farmer who was keeping us, when he did this little spot for us, he made sure he left on the side, on the ground, like a passage. And every day, he used to bring us some food and just push the plate inside, and we just picked it up and we ate. Water, in those days, nobody was saying you dehydrated. No. If you needed water, you went outside, you take a basket, put it inside the ground,
The well.
And pick it up, a little water, and that was good.
Exactly. In the back corner, yeah. Do you forgive them? Who is them? Do you forgive them, the Nazis or the soldiers?
Well, it's difference between the Nazis and even the soldiers. Because basically, the soldiers were soldiers, German soldiers. The Nazis, it was a selected amount of people who Hitler taught and was teaching them of his guidance what to do. So those Nazis, which were the Gestapo, the SS, another type of Gestapo, of Feldpolizei, which was like the outside police. They were trained and guided by Hitler. They were the worst. But the soldiers were average German people. So I always say, if I do hate somebody, is I hate the Nazis, not the Germans. Because I feel that you cannot hate a whole nation because a dictator has the power and doing certain things to people. Because there were many Germans that Hitler killed. So that's why the Gestapo, the Nazis in general speaking, yes, I hate, but not the German people.
Yes.
Did you ever have the opportunity to talk with your mother as an adult, a young adult, and learn what she knew and what the farm people knew about what was really going on?
Did you ever have an opportunity to talk to your mom as you were an adult about really what she knew, what was going on? You as a child didn't really know anything, but did you ever talk to your mom to know if she knew what was really going on?
I'll be honest with you, my mom didn't discuss too many things with us as a children, me or my sister. We stood, because if something, she was always saying, oh, you know, you went through it. You know, you went through it. But we didn't know every little thing. But she did start talking when she got grandchildren. And she talked to them. She didn't talk to my sister, but she talked to her kids. Even later on, though my kids couldn't speak with her because lack of language, different languages, she didn't speak English. But if she could have a translator and they would ask a question, she would tell it. So that's how many things later, my sister even found out because of that.
Anyone else? Any other? Yes. Did you ask a question already? Go ahead. So he was 5.5 when it started in 1939. So, like, 5 years, right. Another question. Yeah.
When you were in the forest, did you make a house, or how did you live there? Because with the weather and the environment was
When you were in the forest, did you make any shelter, any house for yourself, or how did you live in the forest? Were you living in anything? Did you?
When we lived in the forest, we never built anything. We just lived under the trees or something like that. Because we didn't want to build anything, because we were afraid in case we moved and somebody would pass by and will see that somebody built something, or somebody's hiding. Or he would go himself look around, or he would run to the police and say, look there, the people were there. And then they could find us. That's why we never built anything. We not even made a fire, because we didn't want the smoke to go up so somebody could see the smoke.
Yes. You had a question.
Did your experience make you more or less Jewish later in your life?
What you went through, did it make you more or less Jewish in your life?
I'd be saying that didn't make me more or didn't make me less. Because as a child, I know I am Jewish, but it didn't mean anything to me. I didn't learn any religion. Because where would you learn? In the forest? Hiding or this? No. I knew I am Jewish. What it meant, religious way, no idea. And then after the war, then I was a little bigger. Happens that I start living in Poland under the communist regime. And if you know communists, they don't believe in religion. So again, I live in town, I went to school and so far, but there was no religion. So again, I knew I am Jewish boy, but didn't make any difference for me because I was basically the only Jewish boy in town. All my friends they were Polish people, and we never talk about religion, mix religion because nobody knew to mix those things. I don't know if this answers you right or wrong.
So I'll say this, that we were raised with Judaism. We believe in Judaism. We follow the traditions. We go to synagogue, high holidays. I was bat mitzvahed, married under the chuppah, by a rabbi, all that, yes. Do we, are we Shomer Shabbos? No. Do we sit on Saturday and obey Shabbat? I'm sorry, I know I'm in a synagogue right now, but no, we do not. So we believe in the traditions of the religion, and we're very proud of our Judaism, but we are not religious people in any way. Thank you. So on that note, I'm going to leave you with this. We heard so much today, and you guys have been spectacular questions. I know there's more. Unfortunately, we can't answer all of them. If you have any more, you can send them to Amy, and Amy will be more than happy to send them to us, and we'll try to answer them for you. But I want to leave you with this thought. As I said earlier, it's so important that we learn what happened during this period of time, so you guys can continue to tell this and to talk about it. But it's also important because, Dad, be careful of the wire, because I want you to realize we all have a choice in this world. We have a choice in life. We have a choice to be good or to be bad. We have a choice to be kind or not to be kind. That is in you. That is a decision that you make. We have a choice to stand up or not to stand up and to use our voices. And I always say, if it was not for Mr. Piwat or the other people that helped save my family and hide them, they knew something was wrong. They saw something was taking place, and they saw that it was wrong. They used their voices. They stood up. They took their lives at risk. And I'm not saying that you should take your life at risk, but they took their lives at risk to help save my family. Otherwise, I would not be standing here today. I want you to realize that you all have a voice. And I want you to bring it a little bit down, not into the world of what happened maybe 80, 85 years ago, but to today. There's still hate happening in the world today. The rise of anti-Semitism, the rise of Black hate, Asian hate, LGBTQ hate, the rise of anything and everything across the board you could think of, there's hate, unfortunately. And as my dad said, for what? So I want you to realize again, bringing it closer to you, you guys are, I'm speaking to everybody, but mostly to the students here. You're in school, you're with friends, you're growing up, and you're having a great time now, and embrace your youth. But also, your youth is your foundation. And you guys are out there and you're making friends and you're doing things. But think about the words that you're using to people. Think about would you want those words being used on you? And if you would not, and if it won't make you feel good, then don't use those words on somebody else. Words are powerful. Think about being included. If somebody's sitting by themselves at the lunch table or in the gym in the corner, how would you feel if that was you by yourself? It only takes a smile and an introduction to say, come on, join me. And it'll make that person feel so much better. Because wouldn't it make you feel better? It's the little things that we do. I don't know if you guys have phones, do you guys all have cell phones yet? Not yet, some of you do. some of you don't. I'm sure in a couple years you're all going to have cell phones. You're going to be on social media. You're going to be posting things. Be careful what you do with that. Include people in. Just remember, I want you to remember, whatever you do to others, it's how would you feel if you're going to do that too. So I always say, when it rains outside, after the rain stops, what do we see in the sky before the sun? Just yell it out. A rainbow, right? We see clouds, but then through the clouds, what do we see is a rainbow, right? And a rainbow is beautiful. Do we all love the rainbow? It's beautiful, right? And what is a rainbow made of? Not the scientific, but the what do we see in the rainbow? Colors, right? What colors do we see? Red, orange, yellow, blue, green, and it's beautiful, and we love it. We go outside and come look, come look. We go outside, it puts a smile on our face, and it makes us feel good, right? The rainbow makes us feel good, and we're happy about it, and it makes us smile. Well, guess what? I see color in front of me. I see dark skin. I see light skin. I see blonde hair, blue hair. Not blue hair. I did see blue hair, actually. I did see blue hair in the other group, actually. But I see blonde hair. I see red hair. I see all different color eyes, green, brown, blue. I see color. Guess what? We're the rainbow. We are the rainbow. Embrace the rainbow. Embrace the differences. Embrace the color. Use your voices for good and be the rainbow. Thank you.
So, like we said, we know there may be a lot more questions. If you want to get those to me, we will get them to Mr. Schonwetter. And thank y'all for being so awesome today. And I just wanted to say one thing. You talk about how your mom was such an example for you. Thank you for being such an example for all of us. Thank you. So on that note, we'll wrap things up and thank y'all again, and feel free to hang around for a few minutes if you would like to. And just thank you again, everybody. It was wonderful.